So I will now invite Former Ramotar to make his presentation, and he will be followed by Comrade Bibi Shadi.
Thank you, Clement. I think that this is a very important issue that we're dealing with here today. I know that Henry just said that he's not married to the majoritarian rule, but I don't think the world has produced anything better than that for the time being. So we part company on that immediately. But then you come to this issue that we are dealing with as far as this position taken by the President to unilaterally appoint 84-year-old James Patterson to the position as Chairman of the Elections Commission. I think you have to look at it because in the biblical saying, and a lot of very learned biblical men are here, the writing is on the wall. Their intention is very, very clear. And the very fact that they took more than a year to appoint this commission chairperson, who everyone said was so urgent, shows ill intent in the first instance. Secondly, the very sentence in the Constitution that the President used to appoint Patterson to take the action that he took is that sentence was put in the Constitution for the very opposite purpose. Not to create a problem, not to create a crisis, but to solve it. And these are people who were intimately involved in the discussion. When in the period 1998-2001, when the Constitution was being rewritten, and it was decided and agreed, and I think that this proposal came from the PNC, to constitutionalize the Carter formula, because it's not constitutionalized in many other places. Then there was an argument that if you do that, then you will give the leader of the opposition a certain kind of power that no one should have. That if the leader of the opposition refuses to submit a list to the President of names, then you create a major problem that you can't establish the Elections Commission. So that was put into the Constitution to avoid such a problem, so that the leader of the opposition must submit a list to the President from which he should choose by. Not for him to neglect and shroud all the lists and then choose who he wants to choose. That is why what he has done is profoundly unconstitutional. Profoundly unconstitutional what has been done in our country. And I have said at other places, it is profoundly anti-national. If we all agree that there is a direct link between democracy and economic and social development, and if our country is a glaring example of that, the PNC didn't have fools in it that ran the country from 1964 to 1992. But yet, because every time you hear the talk about Boredom, you hear how brilliant he was. It is not him that the country ran to the ground. It wasn't the lack of brains, it was the system that was bad. That was what was bad in our society. And this, if you can excuse Boredom, because you would say that maybe he didn't know what would have been the consequences of his actions, that he didn't know that if he rigged the elections, or if he did tie up himself with the CIA and British intelligence, that the consequences would have been stunted growth in our society. If we can excuse him because we said he didn't know, but these fellows know, we all know what will be the consequences of this action today. And that is why what the President has done is anti-national, and they are degenerating back into the kind of racism that they practiced in the 60s when we had racial clashes in Guyana. That is what they're doing. And that is why all of those things are profoundly anti-national within the society. But I believe that we can fight this. I don't believe that this is the same period as the period when they were rigging the elections all the time. I think that people, I am not as pessimistic as Jeffrey saying that 80% of the black people said they like it. Maybe some of them choose, but I don't think the vast majority of black people like what is going on with this type of thing. They have to think about their children. They have to think about their families. What about the families at Seafield on the west coast of Bobbies who were landless farmers that were given land under the PPP civic to have it taken away from them? You think they like this? And I don't think that the vast majority of them will like it. Some of them probably might, because of the heaviness of the racial propaganda, they might have some level of want to display some level of racial solidarity. But I don't think that will last. I don't think that is a strong foundation to build anything within our society. So I think that things are different now. We have an experience. Our country got an experience. Maybe where we are short, maybe where we are falling short is that we have not been able to overcome the level of propaganda that the PNC has been putting to promote themselves, because they're not doing anything to help black people. That's the sad reality. What they're doing, their line and their propaganda is to promote the good life for the elite. For the elite within the PNC, not for the masses of people in the society, for a handful. And they are using that to create the kind of perception that Jeffrey spoke about. They're using that in order to try to live as kings on top and rule, not as government, not to govern, but to rule. That is what they want to do within the society. And what Mr. Granger's speech in Atlanta, Georgia, has clearly expressed his views completely on this matter. So comrades, I think the international situation has changed tremendously. I don't think that what they've done here is not only not in the interest of the Guyanese people, it is not in the interest of our region, and we must make the region remember what Guyana was a burden to this region under the undemocratic period of the PNC regime. And it is no asset to the international community if we're going to go in that direction as well. So I think that we have very, very good fertile grounds to fight what is going on in this society in order for us to move on. And I think what we have to be doing is mobilization. But let me tell you, just because Henry raised this issue about us, I want to just clarify some of it, about us not moving to try to build relationships to work together. We have always been working, the history of the PPP is trying to build relationships. Jacqueline even offered, saying that the position of premiership was negotiable to try to get a unity with the PNC to manage this country in a proper way. I thought that we would have had a possibility to do that too. When I met with the then opposition leader Granger in company with many of my cabinet colleagues, and he and his in company of Harman and other people from the PNC, and we decided the 2012 budget, what the budget would be like, and what we had agreement on. When we left that meeting, I was so enthused that I invited back to my office my colleagues. I said, what do you think about this? And I said, I think that we are crossing the Rubicon here, that they have agreed to do some of these things in the budget. lo and behold, before the cock crowed twice to say Peter denied Christ, they go to Parliament the same afternoon. The same afternoon they go to Parliament and they deny what they had agreed with us on. Fortunately, Comrade Sam Hines in his presentation to the Parliament wrote it out, and he gave what he was going to say to David Granger and Rupert of the Right. They even made minor corrections on what he said, and then lo and behold, they walked away from their agreement. It is very, very difficult with all the goodwill in the world, that you want to work, reach across, to work, to bring people together. It is extremely difficult in this regard. I suspect that was the experience that Chenny Jagan had when, after all he extended himself to bring unity to this country, that in 1965 January, a month after he left government, he said to the PPP supporters that our salvation is to win over the misguided working class who follow the PNC, and to win over the Aboriginal community, because I think he didn't say this. I'm interpreting what he hasn't said. That seems to me to come out so loud. Saying it is interested in nothing else but himself. And that is what we have to continue to do. We have to work very, very hard to win over every single ethnic group and build. We have to build other coalitions outside of not that must not be the only alternative. The PPP civic work, and it can work again, and it will work again, and we will broaden it with other people to have a truly united country and move Guyana forward. Thank you for your attention. And I must apologize because I really have to run off. So I'm going to ask Bishop Edgell, who shared my views on these issues, to sit in the chair to answer any questions that you have on my presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Jeffrey has to go to the office. It's interesting to see that Bishop Edgell shares. It's interesting to see that Bishop Edgell shares Mr. Ramotar views. But Ramon doesn't share Christopher's questions before he leaves. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Jeffrey, in your presentation you stated that, what I gathered from what you stated was that you thought that the Chief Justice ruling actually gave the President permission to go ahead with the appointment. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes, she gave an opening.
She gave an opening.
Of course, she said he can do it, he can make an intervention. Yeah, she can do it.
Thank you.
What about the explanations that Chief Justice felt that he ought to provide an explanation in terms of the
But he obviously is wrong now to
But isn't it factual in the Chief Justice ruling about the President moving unilaterally? She stated that is only academic since there's a list before the President.
Yeah, but then all he could do with that is similar reject before slave, and it might be easier for him to do it. Yeah, I think that, but I reject the first, like beginning.
All right.
I'll be able to say.
Any wanted
I want direct to Mr. Gas.
Okay, so any other questions to Mr. Jeffrey? Yeah, Comrade.
Mr. Jeffrey, when you were talking about management and governance, you referred to a survey done by some Canadian body. 80% of the populations have no trust in this government. And if something is to be done now, 80% of the other side doesn't say they don't have trust. But you didn't really go on to say how you quite asked the question, how do we manage this? Could you talk a bit on that?
Let me just give hints, because I think it will be managed. For instance, the travel reward is not easy because these kind of societies, but look at Holland, the Netherlands. They have rotate, every year the president rotates. They have the major parties in the presidency, they don't have a president. And whosoever is president rotates every year. So it's four of them there, they rotate them. And these four parties, the four larger ones of it, in the electoral process, they get together. That there are many, there are many. Malaysia, they try in Northern Ireland, they try. Look at Belgium. You know Belgium don't even have a national party, a national political party. It's the French and the world. And they took 1 year to form a government. This thing is so difficult to make. 1 year, you remember? So there are ways. All it boils down is the concepts, as I said, like consociationalism, shared governance, and that sort of thing, to run these kinds of countries. It is, I know that this talk about democracy and development and all, but China ain't got no democracy, and they got some of the biggest development. So it is not true that you need democracy to have development. You might certainly not growth in terms of development, meaning economic growth. Look at Singapore. When we had a per capita income of $300, Singapore had one of about 400. Today Singapore got one of 35,000. We got one of, what was it, 4,000. So what are we talking about? This is a notion that people believe that you have to have this majority voted and thing to get economic growth. You don't. What we tend to say is you need that to have development in the long run, because even China will run aground if the time comes when people got to use more of their brain and use more of the initiative, and the system is closed. So you need the system open so that people can use more of their initiative and get the system open by locking down the politics. So the time will come when China will have to do some sort of movement along that line. But not what I was thinking about. You understand?
Jeffrey, how do you go about having a council of reconciliation when you are dealing with the other side that feels that they have nothing to reconcile? They have done nothing that requires reconciliation.
No. First of all, it is not a simple. I'm not forming any council of no reconciliation. But I told Mr. Ruiz, it's to get somebody called social bodies to determine, sit down and say, this is a framework by which Guyana would run. They can't get it in place, but they will have enough social pressure to make sure that the political process gets it in place. I am not setting up nobody or asking anybody to set up a council. And it is not true. It is not true that people you can't negotiate with people. It is just not true. And I sat there and heard this story. I sat in lunch and office one morning. Let me just tell you something. And it's not my business. He was talking to people, and then I said to him, the PSC was out on the road. And he was telling me, oh, you can't negotiate. And so I waited till the guy, and I said, you okay the money? I said, you can negotiate with anybody, Roger. Anybody. How you can't negotiate with that? They don't want nothing to do. They don't want to negotiate. They don't. I said, give me 3 weeks of it. PSC back in Parliament. Just give me 3 weeks. And see the PSC back in Parliament. He said, you are having to go. I said, give me 3 weeks. And then, well, 3 weeks, it takes 6. But the PSC was back in Parliament. And the PSC and Bar signed a constructive agreement. This thing you can negotiate with anybody. And this thing that, oh, I met some of them and I said, no, that is not attempting to structure government. You come and say, let's get over something and we agree on these few things. You see over the same as he spoke about, the people nearly killed Granger and they had a very white change mind. Remember they went and say, oh, no, you can't write up people and tell them all sort of things and they laugh and say, hey, look, things change, I agree. The people anymore, they believe that.
But Mr. Jeffrey, reconciliation and negotiation are not the same.
Well, we don't want reconciliation as such, yeah. We don't want nobody to love each other, we want coexistence. Peaceful coexistence with that would, in the end, perhaps lead to greater integration. But what you require here is peaceful coexistence in some sort of government of national unity. Peaceful coexistence. Not reconcile, nothing going to reconcile it just now. The perception, it might be that the perception people have was brought here by us of the propaganda. But what happened in 1992, after the PNC nearly destroyed this country and all sort of thing? Guess what? 1992, all the black people still go and vote for them all. What happened in 2015? 60% of the same black of poll. Indians said that the PPP no good. 60% said that. And all of them go vote for them. Don't this thing about, you're going to change them, you're going to change them. It's not easy when you have elites running home, telling them another thing. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier that you don't believe that democracy is required for economic development, and you spoke about the situation of Singapore and China. But these are two societies that are essentially homogeneous societies. So I think comparing Singapore and China to Guyana and all the countries where you have ethnic and other divisions is sort of comparing apples and oranges, because you had
not as homogeneous as you think. But go on.
Right. So what I'm saying is that I think that's the incorrect that's an incorrect comparison. The other thing that you mentioned is that yes, they all agreed, and I think what you said there is a massive example of terrible leadership of that the PNC gives to its people. Because you spoke earlier about the fact that yes, they agreed to when the former president was speaking about how they agreed to the budget. So he said yes, they agreed, but then agreed he couldn't go and sell it to his people because of the fact that they were going to kill him. You said that just now. Why were they going to kill him? You said because they couldn't go and tell the people, well, today we are against them and yesterday we were against them and today we are now all negotiating and happily together. But that shows the bad leadership of the PNC. Because had they said, we want a country where all of our people are developing, the Indian people, the black people, we all want to develop together, and hey, so we are fighting for our total development. But they're essentially talking about division, so that is why Granger couldn't sell something like that to his people.
When you think Clement and all of them normally says, when you start talking about it, that one happened before. We have got to go and think, because people have certain expectations. You can't be telling them, they can't have one perception of you. And the perception of the Indian people in this country generally is that black people shouldn't go over them. Story done. And the opposite on the other side. You might not sit here and don't want to believe it, but there's always vote all the time. Go and look at it. Go, the numbers are there.
The last election, the reason that the APU could have won, the APU was because of a lot of crossover votes from the same Indian people.
But look at the majority of votes. You might have some crossover votes, they won by 4,000. Look at the majority of votes. What I'm telling you, win by 1 in here. But it's generally a fact, and it's no use to close your eyes there. It's a fact. Black people don't want you to rule them, and they don't want the Indians don't want black people to rule them. once we understand that, we're going to go and work out some way of coexisting and governing. But the minute we start fooling ourselves, yeah, we're going to change the mind, we're going to come and love us just on, we're going to reconcile, we're going to consider like this for now.
Just a minute. We have two other more people.
Yeah.
Just a quick
I just opened the floor for question two.
Yes, the one thing that you give an example about this, the society you're talking about, this utopia, I would say utopia, is that it's a developed country. And China, without political parties, that you have the adversarial type of politics. And Lisa said, the Singapore, where there's one race, Chinese. So, or most of it, or more than 80%. And so there is no example of our type of society in an underdeveloped society.
This is a multi-ethnic society. Anytime you see this arrangement, look Malaya. They got the Chinese fighting Malay, and now they're one of the biggest growing countries in the region. Same thing, they have to find a method of bringing people together along those same lines. They have to be, you are not going to run away from it.
One last thought.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just following up with Dr. Jeffrey, even though the Chief Justice ruling has opened the door, so to speak, it doesn't mean that that's the end of the story. I mean, this matter can be challenged legally forward, right? Thank you.
Yes, I did say that. I
Oh, you
did
did.
say that.
Thank you.
This particular appeal, and I told you that you got 5 ways of which you could have looked and seen what the impact on the society and all of that before you give a decision like that. It is not just one. Well, it's a judge and she writes, that's our view, she put it, but you'll have 2 appeals, no? And finally to the CCJ where you might have more than one judge.
Mr. Gallagher?
Thank you.